Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Grammy. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Grammy.
Happy birthday, Graham. We need the flashes to get going here.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Grammy. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Sure.
Get some food.
Quiet down pretty quickly. I was asked to do toast for Grammy for our mom, and I'm very honored to do that. I still have not prepared something, so Ward's going to have to give you the words here. But I just want to thank all of you guys, all of your family for coming. It's been a long time for Lacey, Kelly, and I to see most of you. All of you, really. And so this is an honor to do this. Just to celebrate your birthday, Mom, and to be able to even give a toast to you. And I know toasts aren't supposed to be very long, but when you ask me to give a toast, you're turning it over. I just want to mention one thing from my childhood that I really kept from Mom. I came home one day after my first day of first grade in Lakewood, Ohio, right next to Cleveland, and I've been bullied, I've been called names and everything, and I was crying and came home and told Mom all about that. And she put her arms around me and she said, next time we do that, you just tell them it takes one to know that. And that stayed with me my whole life. I've been pulled over by a patrolman, and he'd say, I think you're going a little too fast, sir. And I'm thinking, it takes one to know one.
We don't do that.
I'd be interviewing for a job. The guy would be looking at my resume and saying, sir, you look like you have some great qualifications, probably a little too many for our job. And I'm thinking, it takes one to know one. And so, but really, Mom, from the bottom of my heart, I want to just bless you for today, because I know it's the Lord that's brought you up to 90, and I just want to thank Him and all of you for being here to help us celebrate. And I want to especially thank Teresa, Darla, and Sue for just being there with Mom, being there for all the things that she needed, helping her get through the tough times, all the medical situations. You guys have really been there, helped Mom get to this day. And I want to thank all of you guys too, because I know you've all visited Mom, Grammy, supported her, encouraged her, loved her, prayed for her. And so this is the culmination of that today. So Mom, God bless you and happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Grammy.
Cheers, Grammy. Cheers. Teresa has something to say.
kids at school. I remember one time walking home from school at lunchtime. Morris Park Elementary, Minneapolis. It was winter, and kids were throwing snowballs at us from across the street. They were more like ice balls. And they hurt, and we got home and we cried. So Grammy wanted to know what happened. She said, I'll take you back to school. She drove us and she said, show me who did that to you. And she went and got a talking to them, and we never saw them again. So she's a mother bear.
Yes, she is.
Thank you, Grammy.
Cheers, Grammy.
Cheers.
I love you all. I love you all. I love you all. Should fly over the table and touch you.
We all get to be here because of you.
That's right. That's true.
That's right. We are your legacy, Mom.
Oh, yes, wonderful.
Only grandma.
Yeah, just have dinner.
Yes, she was ready.
I want to say about Grammy, when we were growing up, I more remember my teenage years, I think, than my younger years. It sounds like you have a story about my younger years, but I remember when I was a teenager, and I did something that she got really mad. I don't remember what it was, but she got really, really mad at me for doing it. I really don't remember what it was, and so she brought me into her room to talking to, which was her way of addressing us as teenagers. And she'd bring us into the bedroom, we'd both sit on the edge of the bench, and we'd wait for like 10 minutes before she'd say a word. You know, wanting to get out of there the whole time. But I remember she had gotten really angry at me and brought me in there, and she was so angry she was just making fists, making, you know, just kind of mushing her hands around it, and she made a fist so hard her knuckles were white, you know, she was really angry, but she never stuck up. She was just calm and talking to us today, and so I just want to come in for breaking any cycle of, you know, of how you had it when you were a child, and how you managed your self-control with us in your big anger.
Cheers.
I'll just call. I agree. Something that you guys have Granny's soft side or sentimental side, which is the reason my name is Darla. Because this guy here had a crush on Darla from the Little Rascals when he was 5 years old, and used to hide behind the chair when she'd come on TV. My mom was expecting another child, and he said, "Can we name the baby Darla?" And that hit her in her soft spot, and that's why I am Darla. Soft heart, and we've all seen evidence of her big soft heart over the years, and it's affected my life, obviously. I wouldn't be who I am, literally, my name, without it. So, Grammy and her big soft heart.
Coming with me to get this rose tattoo.
Oh, I remember that.
So my middle name is Rose, and Grammy always would call me Marissa Rose. And I got this tattoo to remind me of Grammy. And she came with me to the tattoo shop in downtown Minneapolis, hiked up the stairs of this tiny little tattoo shop just to come sit sit next to me and hold my hand while getting the tattoo. And now it will always remind me of you. So thank you for that.
And then she got the same one, right?
She got the same tattoo. Ricky, what do you have to say, Ricky?
Since we're already since we're already way out of order,
As the oldest
and we're
grandson.
cheersing as the oldest grandchild, my memory towards Grammy being the coolest grandma ever. Ever since I was probably, I don't even know, Mom and Dad, 3, 4, 5 age, I always thought it was so cool to come down to Grammy's house, especially because there was UPN and Fox down here with the super cool cartoons, and we only got ABC and PBS. So I would wake up at 5 in the morning to get up and watch cartoons. And usually when we went down to visit Grammy, she gave up her bed for Mom and Dad, and she slept on the couch. So I would come out at 5 in the morning, and we all know Grammy's a real morning person. So I would insist that she watch cartoons with me. And she would very graciously roll over and open her eyes for a little bit and watch cartoons with me. And then I would look over and I would notice she was asleep again. I'd say, Grammy. Grammy. You gotta watch these cartoons with me. And she was like, oh, I am, sweetheart. I'm just resting my eyes. And at 5 or 6, I was like, that makes sense. Okay. As long as you're not sleeping, we're good. I love you, Grammy.
Does that mean it's my turn? I guess if we're going in order now. Grammy, I have so many memories that just sitting here thinking of like, which one do I want to talk about? There's just too many, to name, but two things that I remember just really fondly of visiting you was we just, like when we would go down to the cities to visit you from Saginaw, Minnesota, it felt like about 18 hours. But it was, in the car. Yes, he's stealing my story. But like when we start to approach the Twin Cities, there would be boards along the highway to keep like the sound out from the neighborhoods. And so when we saw the boards, we knew that we were close. We knew that we were close, and it drove our parents crazy because we would start yelling boards, 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 boards for 20 minutes.
Starting at about 4 Lake.
Right. Until we got to your house, and then we couldn't wait to open the doors because, when we live at a distance, we didn't get to see you, as often as some of the kids that live, grandkids that live closer to you. And so you would pick out a few things that you thought, you had in mind for us, and you'd put them on your piano bench for us. And so when we got to your house, we had a few little things on the piano bench that you specifically thought for us. And I just remember always, like, I couldn't wait to find out what was on the piano bench, like, whenever we'd visit you. And it was just, and, like, the little things, like, when my brother and I would come down and visit you separately, like, for a few days at a time, and we had you all to ourselves. We got to go to the grocery store and pick out, like, name brand cereal. Like, smoothie ingredients, and, like, we just couldn't wait. And another thing, I'm pretty sure that so every night I went to bed, I loved your waterbed. That was amazing. But, like, you had a tape that was, like, lightning and thunder. And I played that, it just reminded me of your house. Like, every time I even hear thunder now, it's like I remember that tape that I would play to go to bed to. And I'm pretty sure that I, like, played that until it was dead. But, like, so there's just so many memories that I love and cherish. And, like, I'm a night owl too, and you are. And so it's easy for us to stay up until 3 o'clock in the morning and just talk and watch movies or whatever, and like I get that from you, and So anyway, all of the memories, they're too vast to name, but I love you and you're the best grandma in the world and you just mean so much to me. So,
Cheers.
love you, Granny.
Oh, thanks.
How just, I mean, like, sweet, like, one thing stuck out, like, one story, I mean, there were so many stories that I was like, you know, just memories kept jumping to memory, and, but, like, what really, like, was honestly making me choke up thinking about was, like, so in 2014, like, our house was destroyed in a fire, and lost like basically everything we own, but like literally and like grief is really funny how you only like think about certain things, but like the only thing I cried about was like my Amy Winehouse CD that was like in my car that cost literally $10 at any Target. I was like so devastated to lose that CD because like I love Amy Winehouse, I'm like obsessed with her. And then we went to see the Amy Winehouse, me and Grammy, like a year later, the Amy Winehouse movie came out, and we went to see that together. And I told her, like, I was so sad that I lost my CD, and I know it's silly, like, I could literally, like, go get it on Spotify. Like, it's so silly, but I was just so sad about it. And then, like, a week later, I get a copy of that CD in the mail with, like, a handwritten note of like, oh, I found this, and, like, made me think of you, and I was so touched by that, because, like, you know, somebody else could have said, like, oh, that's silly, like, you shouldn't miss that, like, you could literally buy it online, but I just thought that was such a sweet gesture that you thought to do that for me, and just shows what a sweet person you are, so thank you.
I have something to say. Okay, so I just want to say thank you so much, Grammy, for being the best grandmother ever.
Yeah.
The coolest grandma, the nicest grandma, the sweetest grandma, the most loving grandma. I just want to say thank you for always, when I was younger growing up, I was so happy because on curbside we found a telephone and I was able to put it next to my bed. And the only person I would call was Grandma. So I would always call up Grammy in my bed, and we would chat. We would chat for hours and hours at night. And every time it came around to New Year's, we would always say, "Well, what are you doing for New Year's?" "I don't know. What are you doing for New Year's?" So we always decided to get together for New Year's. As I was growing up, just the two of us. And every time it was a tradition that we would count your change collection, and count and play cards, as well as make a meal together, just a home-cooked meal. So I just want to say thank you so much for spending all the New Year's with me and being the best grandmother ever.
Yeah.
Grammy's got a word. Grammy's got a word. I want to say that my youngest grandchild, Angela, and my oldest grandson, Jesse, are sitting right next to each other. Go and sit down.
Cheers. The beginning and the end.
Ever. Like, one time, I just really wanted to ride a city bus. So, we rode a city bus to the Mall of America. Probably not the wisest idea, but she did it. And I saw an ad on TV as I was watching cartoons one day for a laser tag place at the Mall of America. And I was like, "Grammy, can we go do that?" She's like, "Yep." We probably spent like 2 hours in the mall just trying to track down the directories, security. We could not find this place. Finally, we found it, and I got to do my laser tag. And it was awesome. And then she drove all the way up to Blaine, because I saw another commercial for Gasoline Alley. And we got to go ride go-karts and bumper boats, and just never a request denied. It was the greatest thing ever. I wanted to roll my windows down while driving through downtown Minneapolis at night because I thought it was super awesome. And she was like, "You can get after it, do it."
I think Grammy should have turned the TV off.
And I always got in trouble. No, I didn't get in trouble. Grammy got in trouble for letting me watch movies I shouldn't watch.
So another fun memory is like this. Grammy, I tell this story to so many people even to this day. But we're driving through. I remember specifically like driving through tunnels. Like, and maybe you were visiting Duluth, but like the song "Getting Jiggy With It" came on the radio. She turns it up, and I'm like, "This is a fun song." She's like, "Come on, Will Smith, don't you know?" And she's like, "Da-na-na-na-na-na-na." I'm like, "You are the coolest grandma ever." She at the time is wearing like these black, just like these boots right now, like these black eye boots. This is like stylish, and like she knows the artists. And okay, one other story is that when it was my turn visiting you in the summer. I was obsessed with the band Hanson, if any of you remember Hanson. And I had such a crush on one of the, it was like three brothers that played music together and they were young. And I heard on, yes, Hanson, I don't know if you remember this, Grammy, but like same thing. I heard on the radio that they were gonna be in the Twin Cities performing in like 2 days, but I was supposed to go home like that day or something. And you called Mom or my parents and asked if it was okay that I stay an extra 2 days so that you could take me to that concert. And I remember getting like 7 rolls of the same exact photo of the stage, and like we developed every single picture that was the same, and I still have that stack of like 7 photo albums or whatever of the same photo. But anyway, like you made it your job to just love us so well, and like just fulfill our dreams. So thank you. Anyway.
Pretty sure I lobbied Mom for the extra 2 days too.
I have another thing. I have a friend named Carol, and she's older than I am, and her grandchildren are older, but she didn't have grandchildren when she knew Mom, and then she knew, that the kids spent time with her, special time alone. She said it was her goal to be grandma like Grammy, and she has become that. Yeah, she has. She's had her grandchildren. She's got 7 grandchildren, and she has had them over to their house separately too. And then they call it the day of the kid, like it's Evan Day that day, and so he gets to spend the time with the grandparents. Now the youngest one is 11, and the other ones are all graduated from high school. So it's, in fact, one of the grandchildren are getting married tomorrow. One of her grandchildren. So she has done that. But Grammy was the example. How to be a grandma. Grammy has something to say.
All these stories are so heartwarming, and I love it. And I have said many times to my kids that I was able to have such good times with the grandchildren, except for the faraway ones.
Oh, yeah.
But as I got older and the great-grandchildren came along, and I was getting more rickety, and I couldn't spend the same type of quality time with them. And I really regret that. But, and they're just as sweet as the others. But I couldn't go walking through the mall anymore, and I couldn't this or that. But in fact, when Angela was a teenager and we went to the mall, she had it all figured out, how I could go comfortably. Well, you can sit on the bench here and people watch, you know, I let the people watch, and I'll just go look through the store. And she did that and come back, and she would say, well, I saw this nice da-da-da, whatever it was, so I'd give her a $20 bill. And I didn't have to, you know, exert much at all. But as the newer ones come, and the newest is coming, I don't have the stamina for that kind of grandparenting. I regret that a lot.
Grammy, I remember when Eli was a baby, and we had you, you volunteered to come over and babysit him one night. He was probably 6 months old, or maybe even a year. And we went out on a date, and after we got done, you and I had a conversation. And you were like, I don't think that's a good idea anymore. I almost fell over trying to pick him up, and he's just, I can't do that anymore.
That's right.
Came out here from Spokane by Greyhound bus. Well, it was a different company, but by bus. And if ever any one of you have never done that, don't. It's not the best way to travel. But in fact, I was here to see my dad. It was the year just before he died. It was about 3 months before that. And when I was talking with him, he said, well, I don't know if we could put you up here. I said, don't worry, I'll stay with Mom. And so, you know, Mom and I stayed together. And it was a few days, 4 or 5 days. And Teresa and Darla and I got to have meals with them. And it was the last time I got to see him. But as you know, the day came for my ride back. It was early in the morning, whatever day it was. And, you know, Mom dropped me off at the bus station, and she gave me a $100 bill. And I said, Mom, no one's going to have change for that. And so she gave me an extra 20 to go along with it. So thank you, Mom, for just
Get a hamburger on the way home.
for not being like the number cruncher.
Mercy used to hide Grammy's shoes so she couldn't leave, but I caught on to that, and then I would hide her keys.
As being one of the few people who live out of state, me and my sister regrettably do not have as many fun memories with Grammy. And visits are few and far between, also regrettably. So I've learned to cherish each interaction I get with Grammy. Because right now, you have been the only grandmother to us. Because we don't know our mom's mom, very much. And we were never close to either of our grandfathers. So you are, in a sense, our grandmother. So I can remember some fun things when we were living in Colorado. Like each and every time you came down and we went to Garden of the Gods and each of like the amusement parks and such. You remember the, Jesse, do you remember the amusement parks that we would go to sometimes? Yeah. And then Grammy would like join us and stuff, so.
Valley Fair.
Something like that, something like that.
She'd ride the corkscrew.
Yeah. Pretty much. I just want to thank you for giving that to us because we wouldn't have this. Like, all of our family pretty much is in Minneapolis, Minnesota, this area of the country. Whereas it's wherever else, and we don't talk to anyone on that side of the family. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you all for being my family. Cheers, Lacey. I love you.
I put water in mine and bake it.
Yeah, it's gonna be perfect too. I want some cuddles.
That was wonderful.
You know, yeah, I kind of wanted to. It's really tough to have like family connections.
Yeah,
of course. And seeing all my friends. My mom is still.
Yeah.
It's always wonderful coming here and seeing her. It's never long enough to get something out.
Right.
So, yeah, pretty much.
Well, we're glad you were able to this time.
Oh, I forced that. Like, I'm going. You can't stop me. I'm going. Still likes it when we're able to.
That's good.
That's why I want to do it before Christmas. Okay, I think before the
You think people would believe that?
You guys? Speaking of amusement parks, I just want to share a couple memories of going to the Mall America amusement park with Greg. Nickelodeon Universe. So I asked Grammy if she would ride the Pepsi Ripsaw with me. And she said yes. She said yes. So she went on it with me. And she said, her words were, I didn't care too much for the ride, but I liked the breeze. Sounds like her. Yeah. And then the funny thing is, I went on the same ride with my mother, and she said, I loved the ride, but it was a little chilly. The picture, and to this day I still have in a little keychain about this big a picture. I was in 3rd grade. I was 8 years old, and I was smiling, and I had my new shoes on that she had just got me, and she was in the fetal position, screaming. So that's a nice memory that I have with her, but that she was willing, how willing she is to just try things that her grandkids want to do, and how she never says that we can't do something that's too much out of her way, that she'll go so far out of her way just to please her grandkids.
Yes.
I want to say one thing about her great-grandchildren. Some memories I have of her interactions with her great-grandchildren. One time we were at somebody's birthday party at your place. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. Either Eli or Owen was a baby.
Okay.
And Grammy, you know, as she mentioned, you know, couldn't do as much as she could before, but she sat in a chair, and I was there too. And she asked me, please bring the baby over and sit him on my lap. And so for the longest time, so I don't remember if it was Eli or Owen.
We don't remember either.
And she just had a magic charm, you know, they were just happy, content in her lap, and she got to hold them on her lap the whole time. She just wanted that interaction with the great-grandchildren as best as she could. And then just recently, a couple of months ago, it was Mercy's birthday. We had a birthday party. Grammy was there, and of course her great-grands, Clara and Dry were there. And most of us were outside, but Grammy was inside. It was just easier for her for a long time with air condition and all that. And Dry wanted to tell her all about your school or something that interested you. Do you remember? And you were talking. people were milling about inside, outside, roundabout, and it was like a freeze frame. You're on top of your chair, and just moving everywhere. It was like sitting on this chair. So that was good.
Came to the theater. Mom took me to that. And I was high school, I think. And, you know, as I was laughing at some of the inappropriate parts, Grammy looked over at me like, you know, why are you laughing? Mom, you took me to the movie, you know.
And usually New Year's Day was a tradition to go to a movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Dad watched football.
Yeah, right. Okay.
It won't be too long, Joanna.
Okay, ready? Stace, where's Stacy? Oh. Well, it started.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Grammy. Happy birthday to you. She's a jolly good fellow. Can deny.
How many balloons was that?
1, 2, 3,
Hey, you guys.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think 10.
That's some construction on
Yeah, right?
I saw that earlier today and I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. Here, let's have Granny go.
Is there anything you can drink to kind of loosen it up?